screaming, death threats. Your mom got threatened a lot. It was really weird.
Oh my goodness.
It's the boys.
It's us.
Okay, so I brought you here, Professor, because I wanted to ask you, how do you feel?
All right, so therapy session with the Amarillo boys. I think I feel pretty good. I think that for me, I'm really focused on
Operationally,
how are we doing. So for me, I'm like, okay, so right now it's quarter end. We're getting all the books cut up for our clients, making sure that we can close the books for our quarterly meetings. And this is quarter end is like our busiest time for sure, because I would say a majority of our clients are quarterly, probably like half or a little bit more than half. So we have a lot of presentations to do, a lot of financial statement prep and budgeting and sales forecasting and all that fun stuff. So we've really stress tested our operational stuff. We have a project management software that we use called ClickUp that Jeremy has been helping a lot with. So thank you for your help and dealing with us there. But no, it's been really cool kind of stress testing that during this quarter end with our employee. And it's been really good. So I feel really good about where we're at, how it's all organized. This morning, Blake blocked
Blake block?
He Blake blocked, and then he put a note why it's blocked, and I'm like, oh, sick. So like I know exactly what's going on with him, why, and I know where he's at, and it's just it just feels so good to have a process, know that it's working, and then stepping and leaning into that process so that like it just works. Yeah, how do you feel?
2 days ago, you guys were talking at the end of the day, and you told me, I tweeted this, but you told me, you were like, hey, month end close has shown us that our process just like sucks. Like it doesn't suck, but it needs to improve. There are ways that we can improve it. You just took charge and just, fixed the process or changed the process to where you needed it to be. And then the next day, you, me, and Blake, we all had this roundtable together where we went through the new process, talked about what it should look like. There was some kind of like back and forth feedback. You had this idea for how to improve everything, and then you convinced us basically like that this was what it needed to be, and then we helped you tweak the process to better fit our work, Blake's work style, how I wanted things to see or to be viewed and all that kind of stuff. Like I feel like a proud dad almost.
Yeah, and for reference, I'm like, I would say that I'm more on the unorganized side.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Jeremy is like, he's very organized. He knows every SaaS product and loves optimizing, automating every last thing. And so for me to have this problem, kind of like try and, work my way around it, and then to like bring the problem to Jeremy's like, oh yeah, this is how exactly we're going to do it, because he loves like operational, organizational stuff. It was beautiful, which is why, yeah, it was just to provide more context. But
one of the things that I wanted to like talk about in this NGMI episode was communication, because I think that what we do a lot that people don't see is like we talk like all of the time. I don't know. Recently, I feel like I've been having different conversations with people that have been in situations with partners or with teams, like all types of different businesses where they're just like the communication lines aren't there, if that makes sense. And the team suffers because of it. Like everything about the business can suffer because of it.
Yeah, we talk like all the time. Like we probably talk for like on a bad day, like an hour and a half a day. And then on a good day, like literally the entire day.
6 to 8 hours, 6 to 9 hours.
6 to 9 hours, roughly.
Yeah.
It feels pretty natural, in my opinion. I think that I like to be an over communicator. And the reason being is because like expectations and communicating expectations are like super important to me. Like I want to make sure that like I'm understanding what needs to happen, why it needs to happen. And then I need to either meet or exceed those expectations. And then if that's not happening, then there needs to be communication that happens around that to ensure that like everything is being aligned correctly.
we're basically married.
Being a business owner and having a partner, it's like a marriage. It's like a business marriage. I mean, if you are married, you know that a lack of communication is the number one source of like all problems. In terms of business, it's going to be a problem if you're not communicating. But what's your thought on it?
In the times where we have not communicated well, I think just the willingness to communicate about communicating has been really important. I need you to tell me when you need help, making sure that we're communicating our expectations for each other, but then also like not being afraid to say like, hey, you sucked. Like communicating this thing like, hey, you didn't do this well.
The willingness and openness to have to receive that information. Like we had to communicate, hey, if I'm doing something wrong, I need to know and I need you to tell me. And I'm committing to receive that information and try and be better.
Building a business is such like a high stress activity. It's a very stressful environment sometimes.
Why is it stressful, do you think?
We've never built something like this before, and we've never done it together. I'm learning to build this business at the same time as I'm learning to work with you, and that just naturally like creates this really difficult environment where I have to like be very conscious of what I'm doing, as well as, you know, being able to communicate with you. There's so many things tied up within it too. Like, you know, our finances, like our personal finances are tied up into it. We're dealing with clients and their finances and like their money and, you know, making sure that like we're serving them well. It's high stakes. And that sometimes can make it stressful.
Like these are filet mignons.
Yeah. This isn't like a New York strip, you know, this is a filet mignon. How do you think that like translates into as we grow? What if we get like 4, 5, 6 people? How do you think that would change things?
If we're hiring the right people, it'll be easier. It shouldn't be harder. I mean, managing people is different than managing the work, right? And I think that since we've started this, we've communicated that we want to build something that's super scalable and not be the faces of the company. Because eventually we want to work on the business, not in the business. That's something that all business owners should strive to do when they start. They got to get into the gutters. They got to do all that stuff. But the goal for them shouldn't be to do that forever. The goal should be to take a step back and say, okay, here's what I've built and there's people doing this, but like, how can we improve upon what's already existing? The only way to do that is to not be in the trenches. You cannot be in the trenches and also work on your business. The reason why you're starting a business, I would hope, is to have more freedom, to like have more confidence in your company, or just have more confidence in like the income that you're bringing in, and to have autonomy. I think some people get into this trap of like making it harder for themselves in their business. It grows, but they don't change. They don't grow with the company. So that's something that I think that I've noticed a lot in working with our clients, is that they'll grow a business to like $1.5 million in revenue, and they're still like in the trenches, and it's like, you're making $1.5 million in revenue.
Hire someone.
Why are you still like doing this menial task? It doesn't make any sense at all.
It's the whole thing of like, you build yourself a job if you're not careful, instead of building yourself a business. It starts with us, and it kind of also ends with us, in the sense that like we set the tone for everybody that comes and works with us. And then we, as we grow, decide and shape the culture as the two people responsible for everyone else. It's up to us to like model the way that we communicate, the way that we operate, the expectations that we have, all that kind of stuff. And if we're not doing that, then, the company turns out shitty. And then we end up having to do all the work.
I think I really love what we do. It's exciting.
What are you excited for?
I don't know, just to be able to like not have to fight for client buy-off. I want people to come to us knowing that we're just going to take care of it. And right now I feel like sometimes we have to fight for trust. A lot of times people come into a professional relationship with us with trauma.
That's true. A lot of people have been burned.
They have been. And like that's super fair.
Totally unrelated meme break.
This one's a piece of cake.
Totally unrelated meme break.
I just am really proud of like what we've been able to build and the product and the value that we're able to provide to other people.
I mean, if you weren't proud of it, I'd be a little concerned. I'd be like, what's wrong? What are we doing wrong?
It just feels good though to not have that product problem.
It all just comes back to like communicating
With clients, it's like game changing. Over communicating is probably the best thing that you could ever do. You over communicate the expectations and outline everything that needs to happen, and then they're like, whoa, bookkeepers don't normally do this.
Correct.
And it's like, well, we're not bookkeepers.
You're right. We're financial storytellers. No, it's funny though. Like, you always like laugh at me for going directly to like the support person for any kind of SaaS for any kind of SaaS app. The way that we over communicate, the way that we like consciously try to like build that into our workflows with clients and stuff like that. They come to us with any financial problem that they have. Have you noticed that? Like any question that they have, like, hey, I got this notice from the state, or hey, can you tell me why I have to file articles of incorporation? Or like, hey, like what's this? What's this form? Or hey, can I spend this money? It's so wonderful to see like they have this willingness and the comfort almost to ask. And that's crazy to me. So many people have these questions that they don't know who to ask about or who's the right person to go to.
Why do you think they come to us though?
Because I think they know we're going to be able to point them in the right direction. Yeah, if not fix it, point them in the right direction. And yeah, definitely like trust is a huge thing. It shows that we have communicated effectively what we're doing for them when they trust us that way. Because then it's like, oh, okay, these guys got me. Like Amarla's going to take care of me. And I don't know.
That's exactly what we want to do.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
I love it.
All right, so therapy session.
Oh my goodness. You sucked. Like all of the time. The team suffers because of it. It's a very stressful environment sometimes. How do you feel?
I think I feel pretty good.